So ideaCity is a place to go away from the spreadsheet and the annual report and the computer screen and all the technology and think. And that's where interesting stuff happens. I mean, very few people get good ideas while they're working at 90 miles an hour.
I want to offer now just a thought about how the system works in the United States. I put it to you that what is going on now in the official American treatment of the executive echelon of society is a combination of two factors. One is this strain that can be identified in American history, which I think is probably based in the great optimism of that country because it's so unprecedentedly successful. And one of it is, and also based in the idealism of the founders of the country, that anything that is undesirable can be resolved or put right quickly. And this, from time to time in American history, leads to completely anomalous developments where the remedies applied to identified shortcomings in society are in fact worse than the shortcomings. I accept that probably there was an excess of alcoholism in the United States at the end of World War I, but the answer was not to make drinking alcoholic beverages illegal and hand over one of the greatest industries in the country to gangsters like Al Capone. I accept that the United States had good reason not to wish to become involved in the European War in the 30s. But the answer was not to tie the hands of the president of the country in a way that would make it impossible for him to make any practical distinction between Hitler and Churchill or the countries they led or the political ethoses that they represented. And that is exactly what would have happened if the president at the time, and Moses was kind enough to show you my book about President Roosevelt, if he had not been a man of absolutely unprecedented political virtuosity and great courage. And he completely undermined and confounded the isolationists and the neutralists and rendered absolutely indispensable service to Britain and Canada in 1940 and 41. But I accept another example. After the Second World War in the late 40s, the matter of whether there were communists in the State Department or even to an extensive degree in Hollywood was a matter of legitimate official curiosity. But that curiosity should not have been satisfied in the disgusting way that it was under the McCarthy era, where all sorts of completely innocent people were driven from their jobs and hounded out of the lives that they had had, and terrible things were done on completely spurious grounds. I'm writing something right now about Mr. Nixon, who I thought Spider Robinson was a little hard on. He certainly had his shortcomings, but he has been rather misunderstood. What is happening now, I think, is essentially an overreaction to the misdeeds of certain corporate malefactors, coupled with this second trend, which is one that is common to all democracies and to a degree to all people, of deferring things that are unpleasant, in this case politically unpleasant. There is a political issue in the United States about distribution of wealth. It is, on its face, an odd situation where in such a rich country there are approximately 20 million poor people, and there are some people, not a large number, but a number of people who have billions of dollars and some who have tens of billions of dollars. Now, in my own view is that the answer to that is not just to take money from people who've earned it and give it to those who haven't, but it is to use an equitable tax policy to help the disadvantaged cease to be poor. But in any case, it is a legitimate public policy issue that should be discussed. But instead of really discussing it, that country is singling out prominent, well-to-do individuals who, and I think this is not a matter of direct intent, it's just accidentally what they've lapsed into, singling out people who get into the crosshairs of the regulatory and justice system who are prominent and therefore good caricatures for this kind of thing, and savagely attacking them as totems, as sacrificial offerings who are then thrown like raw meat to the beasts in the Roman Colosseum. And it is not justice. Now, in all of those other matters that I mentioned, the United States did the right thing. President Roosevelt repealed prohibition. President Roosevelt repealed the Neutrality Act. And I have discovered in my research that a combination of President Eisenhower and future Presidents Lyndon Johnson and Richard Nixon pulled the rug out completely from under McCarthy and put an end to the excessive and very destructive vendettas that were conducted in that country in the name of anti-communism. Well, no doubt what we're going through now will be put right as well, because whatever its failings, the United States is, after all, a society of laws, and it is, after all, a civilized country. But that is more or less where we are at this point. Sir Wilfrid Laurier was right when he spoke of Canada's century. He was just a century early.